Hey y'all, here's another weekly video. I'm just kind of like thinking out loud lately. I've been doing it my entire life, but every now and then I just like to take y'all with me on that little journey. And here's one that I was thinking about: ego or self image. I've just posted something on Facebook about this, and I kind of like to just talk out loud about it. Some people think that ego and self image is the same thing. And maybe they're right, but personally, I don't think so. I don't think ego and self image are the same. To me, self image is something that you kind of need to get by in the world, and ego is something that you have, but that can get in the way. So let me break the difference down for you from my viewpoint. To me, when ego gets involved a little too much or a little too unbalanced, you can start to make decisions from a wrong mindset. You can get a little too overzealous, or you can get a little egotistical or egocentrical, or just unkind. You can make it everything about you, or you can get really insecure because you don't feel like you're doing good enough, you're living up to your ego. So you're overdoing things and maybe passing others by and having like zero empathy. So basically, if it's too much or too little ego, or like a fragile ego, it makes some interesting situations that are not easy to deal with. Whereas self-image, to me, is knowing who you are, and I mean that in the broadest sense of the word. Like, I didn't have a very clear self-image for a very long time, and when I didn't, I believed people when they said, you should be doing this, or oh, I can see that you're good at that, so you should be doing that. And I would try to live up to other people's expectations. And that got me in some serious trouble with both people around me and work situations, but also with myself, because I was living up to other people's expectations, but I had no idea who I was. I had no idea what I could and should expect from me. So I was just being shaped into people and situations that didn't fit me, and I didn't know. So I just went along and I did incredibly stupid things in that period because I just had no idea. And then at some point, you can't keep that up. So shit comes crashing down. And then what? Then you stop, then you're just like, okay, so I don't know who I am. No one's expecting anything of me now, so I guess I'm stuck. And that's not a good feeling to have. So at that point, I needed to learn who I was, what I wanted, what I had to offer, but also what my pitfalls were. What is something that I'm not good at? What is something that might actually annoy others? But also, what are the things that I am good at? What are my values? What is important to me? What am I good at? What is my passion? What drives me? But also, what irritates me? Because if something irritates me, there might be something that I do that I don't like about myself. And that can be really interesting if you have the guts to actually explore. So that kind of shapes that self image, right? That shapes how you see yourself. And that's when you can start setting up boundaries. That's when you can start figuring out what really belongs to you and what belongs to other people. Because that's another thing, right? If you have no idea who you are, if you don't have that self image, you don't know what's yours and what's from someone else. If your parents told you that you should be a lawyer, and you just thought, well, I'm just going to be a lawyer because they expect that of me. And you go and be that, and then you're unhappy. And you're like, well, but it was my choice. No, it wasn't. It was your parents' choice for you. And you've never realized that that was never what you desired. So that was theirs, it wasn't yours. And there's so many little things that turn out to be someone else's wish for you, or something that was just kind of like grinded into you almost, when in reality it's really not what's best for you and it's really not what you like. And once you kind of start to figure out what your self image is, you can figure out what's really yours and what isn't. What were you led to believe and what do you actually believe? And that is just such an interesting journey to go on. But again, you do have to be able to look at the shadow sides of who you are. You have to be able to be honest with yourself. And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people cannot see their own flaws because it's just scary, because we have never been taught to deal with that. So as you are learning about yourself, you also have to learn about how to deal with it. And that's it's a challenge and it's not easy. And it can actually make you a little sad or depressed or lonely or scared or anxious even. But again, that's not a shadow side and you can learn to get through that. And once you do, you learn even more about yourself. And the more you know about yourself, the easier you can make decisions, the easier you can make choices, and the easier you can find out what you really like and what you're really good at and what set you on fire. So, yeah, just it's kind of fun to even explore those dark sides once you get through the worst of it. It's not fun in the beginning. It's just not. But once you get to know it, you can even kind of laugh at it even. If I do something stupid now that I know I can do, I no longer berate myself. I no longer get upset with myself. I just kind of smile and be like, okay, that happened again. Yes, yes, I can see that one. And so by getting to know yourself that well, you can actually have some fun with your own flaws and not take yourself too serious. Because the thing is, if you don't really know where your flaws are and if you don't know yourself, you have no other choice but to take everything serious because everything is a shock. Everything feels like an assault when it shouldn't be. But once you get to know all those parts of you, if you bump into something kind of different or kind of similar, it's like, oh, really? There's that too. All right, let's explore it. Let's go figure it out. And then you can laugh at it. So I think self-image and the building and creating of a complete self-image is a very healthy thing to do. And here's the thing: self-image actually isn't complete. It'll never be complete because you will never be able to see everything about you because it keeps changing, it keeps evolving, you keep changing. You are not the same person now that you were yesterday. And that makes it an everlasting journey, but also a fun one. And as long as you keep doing it, it keeps being fun. And you just gotta be aware of how honest you can be with yourself. And I think that's where ego can actually play a major role because if you have difficulty with seeing your own flaws, if you have difficulty with seeing your own dark side, if you have difficulty with that level of honesty with yourself, that's ego, I think. That is ego trying to block you from profound insight. So you kind of got to recognize that. Because ego doesn't want you to get wiser. Ego just wants you to get better and to get through. And there's nothing wrong with getting better. But if you just get better and you have no idea how you did it, you have no idea why, what drives you, what you can learn, then you're going to keep making mistakes. And in the end, getting better is going to make you miserable. And it's going to make people hate you and you're not going to understand why. Because you cannot self-reflect like that. Because that same ego is in the way of making you capable of that. So you've got to figure out where that ego part is. in order to kind of dance with it. You don't have to ignore it. You don't have to go around it, but you just gotta recognize it and say, okay, that's ego talking now. So where was I in that? What is best for me? Not what is best for me in the moment. You're not a child. It's not like, oh, I want my candy right now. No, what is best for me in the long run? And that is the difference between ego and self. And that is that self-image that you can learn to develop. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm in this whole thing right now, and it's a fun thing to explore. And I'm rambling and I'm talking about it, but honestly, I'm still figuring this shit out. So there might be a follow-up video one day where I have a completely different viewpoints. I don't know, but this is where I am now. So I just wanted y'all to be a part of that. And well, if you don't want to be, then don't look at the video. But then again, if you're hearing that, then you probably already did. So sorry. Anyway, I will see y'all on the next video. Bye.